Coming up on today's show, Peacemaker, Eagly, and the 11th Street Kids are back. And this time, the stakes are out of this world. Stay tuned.
There's another dimension. It's exactly the same as ours.
A lot better. Best dimension ever.
Dude, that's sick.
Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Now, before we get started, do not forget to subscribe down below and hit the thumbs up on the video. Tex, how are you, buddy? What do we got for the people today?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. We've got Peacemaker Season 2. So, setting the table for Season 2, this is a much different kind of situation than when Season 1 was made, because now it is officially post-Superman, post-James Gunn Superman, mind you. I have to lead with that. James Gunn is back for Season 2, which is kind of like not really a soft reboot of the first season. It is a continuation of Season 1. So if you saw Season 1, everything technically happened. It's funny. It's like explained in the first episode through like a previously in the DCU.
Yeah,
it's like oh, and instead of the Zack Snyder Justice League, it was the Justice Gang who came to save him at the end of the first season. So, and that's kind of all they needed to do to kind of like fold the universes together. And like immediately in Season 2, you kind of see that Superman experience kind of through Peacemaker as a whole, right? I think just before even really getting into it, I think I can safely say that it's a much better season than Season 1. Because with Season 1, you and I, we've been on record with the Morgue of like, yeah, it was good, like, but there were a lot of issues, and there were a lot of things of like, it was a lot of James Gunn stuff. It was a lot of like extended sequences of, musical montages. You had some dialogue that never went anywhere. You had characters swearing a lot, and it's like it ran its course by the time the episodes came to an end. And in Season 2, the funny thing is, Arturo, is that all that stuff is still kind of here in Season 2, but I think, I don't know, man, like, maybe it's just because we're in a post-Superman world.
More refined.
Right?
All still here. It's all very James Gunny, but it's all more refined now.
That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Superman now is a thing and a living being in this universe. Everything now is still, like I said, very James Gunny, but everything is tighter, more refined. He has a lot more finesse now. He learned from his mistakes from Season 1 and his past writings in Marvel and his other works previous, and he took what he knew and he just made it better. I didn't think he'd be capable of doing that with Peacemaker because it's a TV show, but I was completely wrong about that. This season of Peacemaker is so much tighter in terms of the story and the characters and what we get in comparison to the crazy hullabaloo we got in Season 1, because as Tex mentioned, it was everywhere. You got like a slew of needle drops in every episode, a crazy amount of cursing, crazy nudity that really had no like into the story, just a crazy cacophony of just nuts. Nuts, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's the funny thing is, like, saying all that, it's all in Season 2
yes,
also.
It's still all here, but everything now just works.
Yeah, it's just like everything. I think it's because they had a first season to like introduce the characters. James Gunn kind of got that out of his system, and now he kind of gets to play with them. Like, he kind of gets to like explore them and expand them and kind of really connect the 11th Street Kids together. And I think what people have come to appreciate from James Gunn's works, even us, for as much as we bash like the same kind of things, these same qualities that we're praising here, we bashed in season one, we bashed in Guardians of the Galaxy. We're like, all right, this is enough of this stuff, and even in Suicide Squad, we're like, all right, there's a little bit of that in there, but it was a good story. And
Yes.
I think that's the same case with season two, where it's like that stuff's still here, but it's all in service of a much better story, a much better flow. I do think getting into it, I do think that ultimately I don't know if it ends the season well. I think just television pacing wise, I think when we got to the final episode of the season, I think there was like a backlash from fans, and about like whether or not it delivered. I do think it did, in terms of that emotional beat, that story that James Gunn was telling throughout the season
Yeah.
of
Agreed.
the three kids and their connection. But I do think in TV pacing wise, right, with a TV season finale, and you get the main story of a multiverse, and like this is in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler by any means. We don't do spoilers here in the morgue, so if this is to say, Chris, Peacemaker, he stumbles on another world where he finds out that his brother is still alive, his father is still alive, and he suddenly finds that it's like a much better world for him, where he's treated as a big time hero. And so much of the focus of season two is about him going to this world and kind of exploring this world and seeing his place in it, that when all that stuff is wrapped up in episode 7, and you're like, oh, okay, how is this going to wrap up in the
In
finale?
episode 8, yeah, it's like, wait a minute,
Yes,
we have another episode left. It's like I'm curious
yes,
what's gonna happen, and
y-
I definitely understand why there was some backlash, because you would expect some kind of,
you expect a button on that, right? Because it's like
yeah,
the
yeah,
the story the story ends in season, like in episode 7, the big
it does, yeah.
overarching season long.
But then this is
Not
why people are upset, because they expected a lot more out of episode 8. Like, they
Yes,
probably expected some special appearances or something, maybe from America's Boy Scout, right?
yeah, and it's tough because there is a big cameo, and it's like in episodes 5 or 6, and when
Yeah,
it happens, you're like, oh, okay, that's super cool. And it's just, I think expectations were a bit high because people were like, oh, maybe it's leading to an even bigger cameo in the finale, or it's just that I think it was just uneven in terms of that action sequence, because
yeah,
when it does happen in episode 7, and the penultimate kind of, it deals with the other world, and you see what the other world is, and it kind of all explodes from there. It just ends, and they never kind of go back to that idea in episode 8. And that's where I think the core of the backlash is. It's not, yeah, you have some people crying about cameos and stuff, but I think it's like, oh, you ended your big story already, and now it's the character emotion. It's like it was like getting an epilogue,
yeah.
like it's
That's
like
exactly what it is.
yeah,
It's like 1 month later, and then you have, all this other stuff going on. But it's like I told Tex off air, that episode was pretty much a victory lap for James Gunn.
yeah,
Just having a successful Peacemaker season at all, honestly, was never really something anyone ever expected, especially to for everything to unfold the way it did, in such a way it did. It was all very watchable. I was kind of concerned going into season 2
yeah,
as to how much am I gonna be watching this? Because a lot of stuff in season 1, you get a lot of cringe-worthy things in there. You get a lot of
yeah.
stuff you're like, "Oh, kinda good off that." There's, like, a bunch of orgies and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
season
I
two. Yeah, season
I'm
two
not,
has
like,
it. Like,
against orgies or anything, but, like, it has nothing to do with the story. It was just a lot
yeah,
of explicit, in-your-face things that James Gunn did. But like we said earlier, he does it in this one as well, in season 2, but everything is just so much more appropriate and so much more tighter, and it just works with the characters and the story and where we are now, with
Yeah,
Peacemaker and these
yeah,
characters,
because
right?
when there's an orgy in season 2, it's because Chris is going through like this big moment, and it's like he's
Yeah.
going through like this very sad stuff, and he's going full debauchery because he's like, yo, my life is in the pit right
And
now.
it's funny because he's not even involved in the orgy itself. He just kind of likes it for the background like noise, pretty much. It's like putting
Yeah,
TV in the background.
yeah, it's meant to be like, oh, okay, like he's really feeling it, like he's like,
Rock
oh,
bottom,
here,
yeah.
yeah, here are all my vices, compared to season 1. And I think that's where the stuff shines. Like Arturo was saying, it's like the epilogue was a victory lap for a successful season, but it also, like, that episode 8 hits if you care about if you care about these
Yes.
characters, right? And that's ultimately what it is. Because if these were the same kind of characters we got in season 1, or we liked them even less than season 1, then that 8th episode, I also would have been like, yo, that was so whack.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Like, I don't care about these characters' emotions, because they just don't matter. Like, they weren't built well. But no,
Yeah.
I do think, I don't know how you're sitting with it, Arturo,
Yeah,
but I
dude,
do think, like, I liked them this time around.
yeah, it's a huge testament once again to James Gunn and his writing. He legit made these characters so lovable that you were in it 100% with every single one of them. All
Right.
the 11th Street kids, you were knee deep involved and in it to win it with them until the very end. And that is just, again, big kudos goes out to James Gunn for just making sure that the characters are developed well and well enough for them to go on to other things in the DCU and for
Yeah.
us to give a shit about them when they do other things as well.
I mean, that's ultimately the other thing, right? Because Peacemaker season 2 ends. We don't have to get into details of how it ends, but it ends with a clear tease of like,
Yes.
okay, here is basically laying the groundwork for the kind of path DCU is taking. We won't know how much it's going to influence James Gunn's future works or any of the other works that are in development, but like Arturo said, these characters will appear in other DC projects. It's going to be interesting to see how they are handled by other writers and directors. I think that's still going to be the ultimate test of DC Studios right now. It's like, okay, once we see Supergirl, totally different writer and director,
Yeah.
James Gunn introduced the character and cast them and all that stuff, but it's like, okay, now we're getting to see other people's hands on it. And that's going to be the thing with Peacemaker. And James Gunn built these characters in such a way where it's like, oh, okay, like we will see them again and want to see them again. I think much better than season 1. Like John Cena, for instance. I think, like, before we got to start with Cena, right? Like, just what an
Yes.
improvement, man.
Yes, 100%. We've spoken about him going way back. If you guys go back to our archives here at the Morgue, John Cena did a movie for HBO called Towards a Pharmacy. This was all the way back in 2017, and the character that he played in that movie was just completely like something so crazy and chaotic. And that really stood out to me back then because it showed what John Cena would do and what kind of roles he would take in order to showcase his talent. And that character in 2017 was some kind of like German doping guy and doing naked body slams and
Yeah,
some
because
crazy shit.
because like on that same vein, when he was trying to break out from the Marine and doing all these bigger roles, it was like stuff like Trainwreck, where he was like aggressive and cursing a lot and doing like a lot of his ad libs were like making sure that it was very like sexually aggressive on top of that. Like, that was his character. Then you had movies like, I think it was like Sisters, I think it was like Tina Fey, where he's like a drug dealer and he's got all
Yeah.
these different drugs. He was taking all these kinds of roles, these wild these wild guys to like really break out of that WWE Marine role that he was boxed in, and he's still doing stuff like that. Like, I think maybe it was like last year he did like Ricky Stenicki for
Yeah.
Prime Video, which was another wild guy character that was like not a great movie, by the way, but it's a Farrelly movie. Farrelly Brothers, Miss You Every Day, Stuck on You, one of my top 10 comedies. But this is all to say, like, John Cena has been doing the work of like doing these extremes, and that's kind of what Peacemaker was at first, right?
Yes.
Like
It
in
was, yeah.
Suicide Squad, he was just kind of like another extreme John Cena type of character. Like
Yeah.
he,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like he was funny because you're hearing John Cena say these things. And it was kind of like the same case in season 1 where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but in season 2, the like just Chris as a person, I call
He's
him Chris
finally
now.
Christopher Smith, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
and
finally
he's
a real character. And like, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tex, because you had a great point. In season 1, he was just like John Cena wearing a costume. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
was
yeah,
so us wrestling fans here are like, oh, it's John Cena doing
right.
comic book stuff. But now he's Christopher Smith. He's Peacemaker. He's a character, and he's refined this character so well throughout all the different projects that he's featured in, from the Suicide Squad to his little stint in Superman to his Peacemaker role here. Like, the character is just such a well-rounded, solid character now that John Cena has figured out. And that's super important going forward, because it seems like we're going to be seeing a lot of Peacemaker in the DCU in the future. So I really like the fact that Cena has stepped up and really made this character his own, and not just some gimmick that he walks around,
Yeah,
doing. So I'm really happy
and
about that.
the material is there, and that's the thing. It's like I guess like that's part of it. It's like, oh, maybe Gunn was inspired by John Cena's improvement, and was like, as he was writing these scripts, like maybe he was like, oh, seeing how much Cena could handle and how to push the bar, push the envelope in terms of like what Cena is capable of. Because there's some scenes in this where it's like, yo, oh, that's huge. You're like, oh, that's like a big emotional moment that Cena was
Yes.
able to pull off. Like, I think he has one with Jennifer Holland's Amelia Harcourt that, like, because in season 1 there was that will they won't they to develop between the two of them, and in season 2, at the start of it, you find out that something happened to them in between season 1 and 2, that they had this moment on like a boat or something that they refer to that kind of like split them further apart and made things awkward between the two of them. And it's like, and the whole season Chris is trying to figure out why, and he's trying to figure out whether like his feelings, he's trying to figure out whether she has reciprocates his feelings, she's trying to figure out whether she does. That's part of her whole journey, is like, oh, does she have feelings for him, whatever. And then it all comes to a head in one of the episodes, and they're like, it's a super emotional scene, and they
Yeah.
really go for it, and it really sells, and you're like, wow, like these two are really commanding the screen here. And it's like, oh, okay, like this is
It's
the
surprising,
work.
right? It
Yes, like
really is
yes,
surprising. It caught me off guard as well, Tex. I didn't expect that kind of emotion and that
right,
kind of work from John Cena. But as you said, it must have been that Gunn saw the potential in Cena. He
yes,
saw what he was capable of and what he can do for him in this new DCU, right? So
right.
I am really glad that Cena has been doing his best in terms of character work and getting better as an actor. He's definitely taken the Batista route, where it's just about improving oneself as a thespian and picking your
Yo,
roles carefully, you know?
I mean, shout out Dwayne Johnson, who's the other one out here, like now getting on the Batista route, because he like, look, just quick
Too little, too
detour.
late, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like quick
Saying.
detour about The Rock. After Black Adam kind of tanked so bad and forced him back into the WWE, hey, it was like the best thing WWE has done in forever. So it's like we're so like lucky that it happened. Imagine a world where Black Adam 2, like Black Adam was successful, right? Like imagine a world where we just
Wild.
kept getting Black Adam movies, and we would have
Wild.
gotten
Black
Black
Adam 10,
Adam versus
the
Henry
quest for
Cavill.
peace.
Yeah, yeah. And we've gotten Black Adam versus Henry Cavill and all that stuff. And this is all to say, like, Smashing Machine, like a little nod in there for that. Like, now The Rock is going that route. He's trying these roles, and it's like, cool. Like, I can't wait to see what you do later. But you see Cena in this on this level already, and you're like, yo, like, this is someone who's really put in the work, and he's
Yep.
really put in the time, and he's really put in the effort. And by the end of season 2, that's why the season works so well. I think it's when you get to that finale and you get to the emotions of that finale, and it's kind of like celebratory with like the montages, and you're like, by that point you're like, all right, what's another
Well-earned
montage? Who cares?
montage at
Yeah,
the end
you're
there,
like,
yeah.
out of
I'm like,
all of them, right?
I'm
Yeah.
in, yeah.
Yeah.
It helps that I love the intro song, so I fall in love with that song.
Yeah, and and it's smart. It's a TV thing too, to like wrap it all back around with like the opening theme, and it's like, oh, okay, and it's this big moment that it feels earned, and I think that's why by the end of the season I was satisfied with it.
Yeah.
But like I said from the beginning of this conversation, Arturo, like, I understood why people weren't, because if you didn't like the characters that much, you were probably waiting for like the big DCU connection. But it's there. Like, the
But it's
DCU stuff, right?
yes,
Is all throughout.
it is 100% there. What people wanted is what people wanted in the Penguin, right? To see Batman, right? It's what people wanted to see Superman here. But again, like in Penguin, you don't need the big guns here
Yeah.
because you already have enough to work with. And I think it was a smart choice to not bring in Soups into this and do and work with other characters that are still very active in that universe. And I think for those fans that were very upset, I get your gripe at the end, but also it is very much connective tissue to what's going on in this
Yeah. There
new DCU.
I mean, we with Peacemaker, we've gotten confirmation of multiple universes. That's the other thing, right? So once again, DCU confirmed a multiverse. That was just given away in promotional materials. And there's a lot of stuff that, like, by the end of episode 7, there are some reveals where you're like, oh, okay, that's an Earth from specifically from the comics. And
Yes.
and then
Mhm.
by the time that all works out, you're like, oh, okay. And you see some of the stuff pay off with like Rick Flag, who was introduced to DC through Creature Commandos, which I think you and I both sat on the whole, like, yeah, it was fine, but it was just a
It's
little
fine, but this talk made me excited for season 2 because once Gunn gets all the origin stuff out of the way, he can play in the
I
sandbox, you
think
know?
that's it, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, because you look at Peacemaker, right? And you're like, oh, this is yet another team of misfits coming together for a thing, right? And same thing we saw at Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Same thing we saw in all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Same thing in Creature Commandos, Peacemaker season 1.
Heck, even in
And
Super, right?
technically
Yeah.
technically in Super, and technically in Superman also, where
Yeah,
it's like, oh,
exactly, yeah.
Superman, it wasn't just Superman, it was Superman and Lois and Justice Gang and all that stuff. And I think by this point you and I have accepted that he just likes big ensembles, and he likes writing for multiple characters, and that's just something we're just gonna have to get used to. Like, James Gunn likes writing big teams, and comics media is kind of perfect for that kind of style, right? Where it's like it naturally you expands to like tons of big character teams, and a TV show is also the best place to expand on them. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, you
agreed.
you want to highlight Adebayo, and like, she's great too. In the finale, there's a scene where she kind of has to like or I think it was like episode 7 or something, where she really had kind of has to like really go into it, because if it
Yeah.
didn't work, then because like the stuff she says in that scene to Chris, you're like, oh, that's the thesis of the season, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, if she kind of didn't deliver that the way she should have, whole thing would have fell flat, right? The
Yeah.
whole thing would have like blown up. And in episode 7, like the reveal at the end of episode 6 is like incredible because of her. And there's just stuff like that. Yeah, I think we just got to get used to James Gunn likes writing big character casts, and thankfully it's evolved. You have like Judo Master, who's like who returns, because he seemed like just kind of like a one-off villain
Yeah,
in
he
season
really
one,
did,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but then he comes back here and he gets a lot more to do and a lot more
Yeah,
to say, and he's
it's
great, right?
another character that James Gunn is able to just plop out of the ether and just make you enjoy him as a
Yeah,
character. I really
yeah.
liked Judo Master this season. He was really good. And then you have characters like John Economos, which we also saw all the way back in Suicide Squad, right? He also stands out. Like
Yo,
these
it's a
characters.
heavy Economos season.
Oh,
Yo, like
dude,
there are so many episodes where it's like, oh,
huge.
this is the Economos show.
Huge, huge, and he is great in this one, and they were able to get Tim Meadows into the fold as Agent Flurry, who adds such comedic timing and comedic relief into some scenes that is just like only Tim Meadows can pull that
Yeah,
off, you
he's just
know?
a joke delivery
It's
factory,
so good.
but then
It's
you
so
do
good, I
get
don't
the
wanna spoil any of them.
yeah, you do get these moments where he's like a real character, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why he's here, because he sees, there's some corrupt stuff going on with Rick Flag, and he's not
Yes.
exactly doing things by the book. And
Yeah,
Flurry notices that.
yeah.
He's not cool with that. He's just like, he's a guy who cares about his teammates. Yes, he like gives them all fun nicknames, and it's just like, oh, whatever. And he seems really blasé, but no, like he was really like, and
Ginger
that's
cool.
the yes, and that's the whole thing. And like, and there is DC ties with, once again, Rick Flag, where Frank Grillo, who's like, shout outs to Frank Grillo, who's always
Yeah,
been that
man.
kind of that kind of guy. He's like, oh, we
He's
need like,
dependable. He's
yeah,
dependable.
like
Yeah,
The Purge of Anarchy is still one of my favorite movies,
same.
because he's like, he takes that movie and turns it into like, yo, he's awesome. He's basically like the Punisher of that movie. So
Avoid
like, yo,
werewolves, though. I saw werewolves the other day.
no, it's
Um,
not good.
dude, it's not what you want. I think he just kind of did it as a favor, but
Oh man,
I
but
don't know why he did it, but it's not what you want. Stay away from that one. Go watch Anarchy
yeah,
instead.
because you see him, right? You see him in all these projects, and you're like, oh, James Gunn's making the Nick Fury. Like you're like, oh, okay, he's gonna be the Nick Fury that brings together all these crazy characters. No, no, he's not, and that's also part
No,
of like the
yeah,
the fun of the season.
yeah, because like even like this is not a spoiler, but Rick Flag Sr. is on a quest for revenge over the events of what happened with Rick Flag Jr. in
Yes,
Suicide Squad with Peacemaker. So there is a lot of connective tissue all throughout this James Gunn universe. And Tex, honestly, man, like I cannot wait to see anything or everything that comes out of this universe, man. I am
I
so
mean,
locked in, dude. It's not even funny.
yo,
We have
yeah, because
Supergirl next, and then
yeah,
Lanterns, right? Like,
like
man, I
like
can't wait.
getting into this, the way we do things here, we have our scale of pay for it, which is, in theatrical terms, it means, go see it as soon as possible. In this kind of terms, in TV terms, it'd be like, oh, see it if you haven't seen it already. Wait for it, which is, you're fine, but like just waiting for it to be like, either you have a free weekend, or you get a trial to HBO Max and you get to try it out for a day or something like that, and you'll be fine. Stay away from it. Self-explanatory. Don't watch it. Don't bother. You're not missing out. Starting us off here, I will say it's a pay for it. Like I think straight up, like I think, you know, get your, borrow somebody's password to log into HBO Max. Like definitely check
Yes.
it out, because it is, unfortunately, there is homework. You do have to see season one. You can't just jump into season two.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see Superman. Like you don't really, but you kind of have to, right? Like, and
Yes,
that's the
but
thing.
also, why haven't you watched Superman yet?
Yeah, and this is all to say that, like, that's why I'm excited, because it's like this, now that it's part of like a universe that's going somewhere. It's clear that there's like a much bigger energy behind it all, and
Yeah.
you can just feel it throughout the episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am going to have to agree with Tex on this one. It's a pay for it on my end as well. I am definitely in love with this cinematic comic book universe. And for all of the negative stuff that we've said about James Gunn in the past, he has definitely gotten it all together and made it work. I cannot wait to see what he does with the future characters that he has. And I'm super duper excited to see what else DCU has in store for us. As I mentioned earlier, we have Supergirl coming down the pipeline. We also have Lanterns, another TV show. And also, one big point that I have to make here is that James Gunn is finally making comic book TV work with the cinematic universe, something that Marvel could not do with Disney Plus and their TV shows.
Ooh, yo,
You
shots
know?
fired, but
Right? Like,
honestly, yeah,
because
because
throughout
like,
this conversation, I was thinking, I'm like, dude, like, this is legit the first time. Like, I'm not including Penguin in this because obviously there's issues with that as well. But like, this is the first time that a comic book, a live action comic book TV show is directly tied to the cinematic universe that it belongs to, bro. And this
yeah,
is
because
huge.
it's always
Huge.
been after the fact, right? Like
Yes.
Hawkeye was like, oh, here's a new adventure with
It's always
Hawkeye
been
from the movie.
spin-offs, right?
Yeah, here's a new adventure with
Yeah.
Hawkeye from the movies. Like Miss Marvel, it was like, oh, okay, we saw the connection in the Marvels and not necessarily in Miss Marvel itself, right? Like this is like the way I think that's why Disney started to roll back all their shows because it was like, oh, these aren't connecting. Not only are these not connecting, and these are also introducing way more plot threads than we have any interest in
Yes,
following up on. But
exactly. Mhm.
but it's already clear here that thanks to James Gunn, like as much as we complained about James Gunn writing and doing so many projects for the DCU and like and kind of like announcing so many like distant plans and stuff like that, it's already been made clear in the year that we've like had already that no, that's not exactly how he's going to approach things. He really is going to do these things one at a time and build off from there. And that's, you couldn't ask for a better start to a universe. And for a TV show to directly follow a movie, consider that movie's events within the TV show itself, and then have stuff that will lead into other movies. But also, if you don't watch Peacemaker season 2, probably like you won't need to. Like the movies will likely have all
Yeah,
that context within it. It's just for those who do the work and who do, I know I hate to say do the work, but yeah, like for those who put in that time and that effort to watch these shows, you hopefully, this is all saying hopefully we will be rewarded. It seems like that so far, right? It seems like
yeah.
everything has
I
been
mean,
directly connected.
this reminds me of when Iron Man came out and Marvel began their cinematic phases, right?
Yeah,
This is the same thing with DC, but I think they're doing a better job
they're doing
of
a much
getting
better job.
everything started and writing better stories.
James, I mean,
Because let's face
Gunn
it, like
saw
Iron
how
Man
they
and
were doing. Yeah,
Thor,
yeah.
they're all right. It's nothing compared to what James Gunn is doing in DC.
We're so lucky Superman did as well as it did and was as good as it was, because it's like if it didn't, we'd be looking at a much different Peacemaker now. We'd be like, oh man, this is
We'd be
so
like, "Where's
rough.
Henry Cavill and Black Adam?" Right?
Yeah, where's our Black Adam versus Superman movie, right? But it's just like, with all that being said, like he saw what happened at Marvel. He saw how the machine like did things. He saw how Marvel like made movies while they were still writing the scripts for them.
Yeah,
He saw how they made TV shows that were just 6-hour movies,
yeah.
and it's like, no, you can't
Like,
you
this
can't
is
do
not
things
working.
that
This
way.
is not gonna
Yeah,
work. Yeah,
no, and
exactly.
he figured it out, and now he's got his own plan laid out, and I'm so curious to see what it looks
Yeah,
like, because
yeah,
I don't know if that means Peacemaker season 3, some other type of show that might have been hinted at here in the finale, where it's like,
yeah.
oh, that's probably going to be the name of the next show instead,
Yep.
because you'll have to see what happens there. But then, like, what is his future going to look like? Because he's already working on Man of Tomorrow, I think, which was like that
Yep.
Superman sequel, and it's like, okay, how what does that mean? It's like, what does that mean for the Clayface movie that's being worked on? What does that mean for the Supergirl movie? Are these going to tie into each other in that way? Like, what about the Batman 2? What does that mean? Like, are we still getting Penguin season 2? But this is all like putting my final button on it. This is all to just say it's exciting, man. Like, I think we've said this multiple times in the past, Arturo, that like, much as big as Marvel fans we can be, there's just something about DC when there's a
Yeah.
good DC thing, right? It's just like,
When DC hits, it
it,
hits,
it
X. 100%.
really hits. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And with that, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla. With me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Do not forget to subscribe down below and hit the thumbs up on the video. And do not forget to listen anywhere you get your podcast streams. Go like, subscribe, and share on all the socials. And always, always remember, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.